Americans were not paying attention to the drama behind the Clarity Act. However, a headline from Punchbowl says it all. I want to bring in now Senate Banking Committee Chair, Senator Tim Scott. Golly, a tug of war. You had Senator Mark Warner, Cynthia Lummis, which is an odd pair in my mind to begin with. On one end, Elizabeth Warren and a whole bunch of others on the other end. And I think it was Lummis who said it was the hardest piece of legislation she'd ever worked on. Why such a battle over this thing?
Well, it's the future of finance in so many ways. Listen, American people want to have access to what the rest of the world has access to. The only way to do that is have rules of the road. So getting this legislation done is historic. It puts America back in the driving seat for the future, the foreseeable future. Having Cynthia Lummis and Mark Warner work together on anything is a blessing. It's like Peter walking on the water. It's something you don't see every day. And so this is good news. But more importantly, having Senator Alsobrooks and Senator Gallego come along with every single Republican on the committee to do what's in America's best interest long term.
Explain, there's a section, I guess, a big argument or debate, what they call Section 104B2. That determines the network and the tokens and if whether or not they're under coordination. It felt like that was sort of at the heart of the fight here.
Well, there are 4 or 5 major pieces of the puzzle that were the heart of the fight from my perspective. One was on rewards. Banks and cryptocurrencies were diametrically opposed. We were able to thread the needle on that really important section. Number 2, issues of ethics. Ethics is something that's really outside of a banking jurisdiction, but it's still a really important issue. Number 3, quorum, making sure that both CFTC, SEC, the alphabet soup for those Americans paying attention. Listen, all that means is the regulatory framework needs to have people serving on those committees. Number 4, DeFi, to make sure what we're doing as we eliminate the intermediary, we do not increase challenges for everyday consumers. And the 5th section has to do with AML, or anti-money laundering. Those are the 5 major pieces of the puzzle that cause a lot of consternation along the way.
If you had to explain to just the average American how this benefits them, what would you tell them?
Yeah. Well, the simplest answer is democratization means lower prices, faster transactions. And the good news is you, the person who has the resources, you make your decisions. You don't have to wait on someone to give you permission. Now you're working in a permissionless environment because of blockchain, the ability to verify transactions real time.
The banking sector, they fought tooth and nail. In fact, there's still talk that they're still going to try to fight tooth and nail on this. Was it all just about money and control? Why so much resistance from the financial sector?
You know, they've been, frankly, we have the greatest banking system in all of the world. So we are incredibly thankful for the way that we've built our banking system. Competition coming into any space, it creates butterflies at the very least. And so what we've been able to do is try to make sure that we're threading the needle between cryptocurrency, the future of finance, and traditional finance, as you call it, fiat finance that we're looking at today. The good news from my perspective, we're already seeing banks, Charles, get into the crypto business. And so the future of this 3 to 5 years from now, we'll say, tension were you talking about? It'll be gone.
Well, you know, there's smart businesses, right? Maybe they can see the writing on the wall. I see that with Visa also and some of these other companies. Let's talk about the impact on the dollar and U.S. Treasuries.
Yes, massive impact, especially with the passage of the Genius Act. For folks like me or my mom or folks who are older Americans, what in the world is a stablecoin? Simple. For my mom, I told her a stablecoin is nothing more than a digital form of the old-fashioned cashier's check. It allows you to do business anywhere in the world, and it makes it easier. What our stablecoin legislation did, we made U.S. Treasuries more popular around the world. I believe that reinforces the importance of having the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency of the world. It's really good news for our country.
I agree with you 1,000% on that. And I just got to ask you, it's sort of a side issue, right? But it was brought up during this process, and it's just the leverage. The crypto community seemed to have come out of nowhere during the last election cycle. Many think they actually pulled President Trump over the finish line. Are there any concerns about too much influence?
Well, there's no doubt that crypto's at the table. but if you may not remember this because you may not know this, but at the end of the day, the banks just put together a $100 million fund to participate in the election process as well. And so what we're seeing is more focus from different sectors on making sure their voices are heard and seen. That's good news for the American consumer and frankly for voters as well. To have people who disagree but do it without being disagreeable is an important part of our process. So the more the merrier, but I will say without any question, I want every single voter in this country to have access to all the information to make a wise decision on who they're voting for and why.
Before I let you go, you're doing a lot. What's next? What's next for the American public? Because you are accomplishing a lot.
Yeah, we've had the busiest time on the banking committee in my 10 years, and some say within 3 decades. We are sitting on the cusp of getting housing done. We're going to have TRIA, which is terrorism reauthorization, done. Exim Bank, we're going to get that done. Flood insurance so that people who live in flood zones have an opportunity. Said differently, Charles, what we're going to do is make sure that the American people understand that affordability is job one on the banking committee. And we're going to make sure that President Trump's agenda of affordability hits the finish line right on time.
I know you will. Thank you so much, Senator Tim Scott. Great stuff.
God bless, Charles.
You too.